Hello and welcome to Module 3 of our IELTS listening course. In today's module, we are going to practice identifying details. So what are details? Well, here's a definition that you can use. Details are facts and points made about a particular subject. What does that mean? Let's take a look from a reading that we have here. The topic is Lou's problem. As I look through this information here, I really see that Lou's problem is down here on the bottom. What can Lou and her family do? That's the main idea. There is some information in this reading that's not quite so important to this problem here. Let me show you something. Here's a sentence that says, she, Lou, is happy to be in the United States with her brother Seng and his family. Now that's important information for this paragraph, but in the grand scheme of understanding Lou's problem, it's not a main point. This is clearly a detail. So what does this look like on the IELTS exam as you're taking the listening passage of the IELTS exam? Well, here's an example for you. You might get questions like this. Multiple choice, and they have specific details that you have to be listening for. For example here, the topic is shark meshing. We're going to go to this example a little bit later, but you can see that these aren't main idea questions. These questions are identifying details within the listening. So how do you identify details? My first tip for you is to notice the key words. Let's go back to our example about shark meshing. Question 35 says, shark meshing uses nets laid A, B, or C. As I'm listening, I know that shark meshing is an important term. My ears are going to perk up when I hear them talking about shark meshing. Places. Now this is important. There are 3 different places they mention. And you know what? I bet they're going to mention all 3 in the listening. So we have to be careful. What are we listening to the place for? Other places that have taken up shark meshing. Don't just listen to one, hear it, and think that's the right answer. You have to know that this example relates to having been taken up for shark meshing. Numbers, obviously specific statistical information can be important as details. A question like this, spring, summer, winter, again, detailed questions. All right, my second tip for you, as you are listening to the information, I advise you to take notes. And the note strategy that I want you to follow, first of all, is using hierarchy. Now, if you don't know what that means, let me show you. Let's take this as an example. Now, let's say that my student came to me with this set of notes from after having listened to a listening passage about negotiation. Now, there's a lot of information here, and the spelling is great. These are probably keywords. Great. However, as I look at this information from these notes, I don't know what's important. I don't know what are the main ideas. I don't know what are the details. I don't know what are the examples that support the main ideas. Take a look. Okay, let's go back to these notes again. Now, same notes, but now I've used hierarchy in the notes. Can you guess what I did with hierarchy? I showed what's more important and what's less important, what's an example, what's a detail. So we have our topic of negotiation, and one of the main things the speaker talked about when he or she was talking about negotiation was the difficulties of negotiation. That's the relationship there. Now the next relationship is one of the difficulties in negotiation is language. Now I'm going to skip this. I see here another difficulty is not only language but specifically body language. And again, I see for negotiation there were difficulties. Another main topic was different approaches to negotiation. The need for an interpreter was an important point that was made when talking about language. Eye contact and physical contact were examples of body language. You see how hierarchy helps in the relationship of ideas when you're listening? If you have your notes all in one line, you're going to miss that. All right, my second tip for you is that while you take notes, you don't have to write every word. You're not going to be able to. Instead, use shorthand symbols. I've got some examples for you, the ones that I like to use. First of all, I use an arrow like this when I'm showing there's a cause and effect. I use an arrow with two heads on it when I'm showing there's just a relationship between two things. You can probably guess this one. This is when I want to write the word at more quickly. E.g., when I need to write an example. W with a slash, that one stands for with. It's a faster way to write with. And can you guess what this one means? W/O? It's without, the opposite of with. Now there's a lot more we could cover. There's a lot more symbols. But what I want you guys to do is practice, practice, practice. Keep listening, taking clear notes, identifying the keywords, and with more practice, you'll keep getting better. Thanks.